So welcome back once again to On Cue Billiards in La Mesa for the ongoing Lucasi West Coast Tour. This is stop 2 of the tour. First stop being in Sacramento. Second one here is in San Diego. And you can see here that it's handicapped, so based on Fargo ratings. And myself and my opponent, Mike Edmiston, well, he's 450 Fargo, and Mike's from Reno, Nevada, and I'm a 557, and I'm from San Diego here. This is my home club. So I race to 7, and Mike races to 6. And he won the lag and got the break. Unfortunately, he's just scratched, so he's presenting me with ball in hand and just surveying the table. The 2's got a couple of obstacles, the 8 and the 3. So in playing this one, I want to try and play down into the centre of the table, so I've got the chance of the 2 in the bottom right, and if I just go forward slightly out of the 3 in the centre left. So just playing this with top and right, but that's under hits considerably, not quite got the pace on the table just yet, and subsequently have hooked myself. Looking back with a bit of hindsight, may have been better to overhit it than underhit it. As one of my colleagues in my 8-ball team, very experienced player, Wayne Crow, he says very often he'll ask himself, what's the worst thing I can do here? Before he plays the shot, and the worst thing I could do there was in fact underhit it. Because if I overhit it, I would have always had a shot, even if the cue ball had been all the way up there by the 5, 7 or the 9. So a little point to maybe bear in mind. Meanwhile, Mike's found the pocket again with the cue ball, and so once again I have a ball in hand. This time I've got to get onto the 3, and looks like it'll pass the 8. It's not obstructing into the bottom right, and if I could get just past the pocket line, then I could stun over for the 4, but the issue is going to be the 5-7. So I've come way down the table, and not an ideal situation for pocketing the 3. I'm actually looking now, is the 3-8 a combo? Because I could perhaps play that as an attacking option. 3's going to go over to the left side towards the 4. Depending how hard I hit it, it may leave me shape for a pot in that top left, or if I hit it harder, the 3's going to go over somewhere behind the 9, and that's in fact what's happened. Rather fortunate there, the 8 that I missed in the side came over and kissed the 3 and hooked Mike, so roll of the ball definitely favouring me there. I've got to kick at this with a bit of left. And if he'd got a full ball hit there, he may well have hooked me back, but just catching it half ball, it's crept out. And I've now got a chance at this 3 in the bottom right. I'm just checking to see, can I get that 4 in the side? And you can get it if you're close to being straight on it. Still going to have the problem with the 5, however. This is not favourable to get close to the 5. Just walking around to have a look, see if it's a combo. It's definitely makeable, and I'm going to therefore try and get past the 8, bit of follow. But that's not gone far enough, so I can only see the left side of the 5. I'm not sure there's enough space between the balls to do a carom. Well, I've played some sort of a carom there, but once again I've had a bit of roll of the ball to leave it quite tough for Mike. Certainly no attacking options. So he's just drawn the cue ball back to the end rail. this is makeable in the side for sure. And I probably would be playing for a bank, because the natural line for the cue ball is taking it towards the middle of the short rail down here, the bottom cushion. So if I can get back up and just get past the middle pocket, it's a cross side bank, and these aren't too tricky if you've got the right angle, and this looks pretty good. He was going to come round 3 rails towards the 7. And overrun it slightly. This is a thin cut. So just trying to work out precisely how thin, and then decide what type of spin is required to control that cue ball. Probably check side, which is left in this instance. Perilously close to the side pocket. It wasn't a good line, actually. Would have been better off playing it with a bit of outside, perhaps, to come all the way down to the short rail, or a lot more check to get somewhere shorter on that long rail, and then I could have had an 8 ball in the corner. But then I'm just thinking what to do, and with this particular shot, I've had some success with just rolling it straight onto the rail and trying to leave it frozen, which is what I've done. But I've come up short, so that is giving up ball in hand, which should really be the first rack to Mike here. He's choosing to make it straight and draw back. So the problem with this is you're going across the line of the next shot, so you need to gauge your draw precisely to the inch to get the desired position. So he's gone a bit too far. He's going to have to try it in the side pocket, and that's a bit too thin. Yeah, so returning to the choice of shot he gave himself there, had he given himself an angle on that 8, he could have then perhaps been drawing back on a line that was approaching the 9 on the potting line, so you have a much bigger margin of error. And it's easy to say from here with hindsight. At the time, that's what he fancied, so he played it. Now I need to redeem myself here. I played a couple of poor shots, and this one would erase all of those and give me the first rack, and I could forget all about them and move forward. So that's what's happened. And I'm breaking, rack 2. I've got my cut break. That's gone in straight away, but the 2, not quite so favourable. Can't see an attacking option here. You could try a ridiculous cut along that bottom rail, but there's no value in that. So you're looking at a thin edge probably. Then where is the safe zone? Well, there's those 3 balls by the top right pocket. If you were to play thin off the left side of the 2 as we look at it with left English, you could perhaps get in that little safety zone. It's not going to make it in terms of pace all the way down to where I want it to be, but the 7 has done me a favour, I think. And the 8's complicating matters for him as well, so maybe he's going to get the short stick out and jump over the 7, try and pop that too. Looks like it. Yep. I forgot to move my coin along there, so that puts me on 1. Well, he's got a good hit, and cue ball's come back, so separation is quite good. There is a shot on here, an attacking option for me if I wanted to. Try and get on that 3. You're going to have to jack up a little bit. You're quite close to the rail with the cue ball. And then you'd be trying to draw onto the long rail on the right. Looks like I'm just content to play safe. But it's not worked out safe, really. He's got a chance at the 4, can play follow forward, just come 1 rail and approach 3 that way. Yeah, so all tables are in use here. They've got 97 players, I believe, playing in the tournament, so all 20 tables are in use. So you do occasionally have to give way to players on the adjacent tables. They're down on the shot first. A nice pot from Mike there. Didn't quite put enough juice into it to get all the way up for the 3. Looks like the line may have allowed him to go past the 7 and make it, but that wasn't the case. And he may well have been attempting a pot there. Didn't catch it on the way down, caught it on the way back and found the pocket again with the cue ball. So what to do here? Well, the 4, 5, 6 are all congested around that top right pocket. So any shot on the 3, you're going to have to really get into them and do something. And there is a 3-foul rule in operation, so I'm thinking if I perhaps get the cue ball down above the 5, I may be able to just knock the 4 out of there and get him in a tough snooker. So that's what I'm trying, backing up a bit to get the desired backspin on the cue ball. It's not that difficult to hook this one. You can just kick 1 rail if you wanted, but he seems to be going for the short stick once again. He's only got to jump over the side of the 5, so doesn't need to get too much elevation. Once again a good hit, but this time he's left me a chance. It's very flat though, the angle, so all you could really do is roll forward and play for the combo 5-6. You wanted to keep the run going. That was a poor strike. It hit the rail shortly after I made contact with it, and even though they're generous pockets, they're not quite that generous, and so left Mike a thin cut. And I'll be regrouping there in the chair, thinking must do better next time. He's having a bit of a nightmare, Mike, here with all these scratches. It's just one of those days for him, I think. I'm just now cracking a joke. I say he's trying to go around the table and scratching all 6 pockets. I do try and lighten the mood a little bit if I can. The other day we play because we love the game, and I do like to try and enjoy myself. It can diffuse a little bit of the tension I can otherwise feel. So I think I was trying to draw up for the combo, but didn't quite get enough pace into the shot. So debating whether or not a carom is possible, and that looks way too thin off the 5 to be able to hold a pot in line on the 6. So I'm going for the combo. Yeah, that's okay. Now I can. I've got a choice really. You can either play with left spin and come round 3 rails, or you play with right spin and just check out and try to get the cue ball back towards the spot. And that line looks pretty good. Just dropping this in, the cue ball will roll forward. Hopefully it doesn't kiss the 9 of the way. Little bounce off the long rail and I'll have the 8 in the bottom right. In fact, that little kiss on the little bump on the 9 done me a favour. just enough angle to pop this in. What I do need to do though is get a nice, like I say, pop on the cue ball, strike it in the centre, and then get the maximum rebound off the rail to get the cue ball out into the middle of the table, because I want to take this 9 in the top right, and you don't want to leave yourself a cut back, which is precisely what I've done. I've got an awkward shot into either top pocket, blind cut back into the top right, or a slightly thinner cut into the top left. And just trying to evaluate which one I fancy the best. Neither is ideal, but you've got to just take your medicine, forget what should have been, and concentrate on what is. So I'm looking at the top left here, trying to imprint that angle, and I'll be playing it with a bit of backspin, draw the cue ball onto the long rail, and it should be a safe cue ball after that, just in case. Yeah, I caught it too thick, and that's not too bad, all things considered. I butchered the pot. It's definitely cuttable, but it's a thin cut from the length of the table, and he has to get a precise edge on it. Put it this way, if he cuts it in, he deserves it. There it is, great shot. Well done, Mike. Punished me for my poor positional shots from the 8 to the 9, so it's 1 rack each. And we're using the World Nineball Tour rules here, so the 9 ball is on the break. We're using the 9 ball template, and the cue ball is in the break box. And the break box is, if you were to imagine a line from the first diamond there on the right to the 1 ball, and the first diamond on the left of the short rail at the bottom of the table, that forms a box with the kitchen line, in which you must break with the cue ball in that position. So Mike broke dry. I played safe, hooked him. He's kicking at this. He's caught it, but it's going to dress up, I think. Yeah, I've got a chance here in the side pocket, just off straight. So I'm just seeing if I follow forward, just top spin, and you can hit that short rail, the long rail rather, and hopefully get the correct side of the 2 into the top left. Just about made it. Looks a bit flat. That's one of my bugbears, is I tend to get flat too often, and I'm playing shape, but I need to be playing for better angles, because it would make getting position on the next ball a lot easier. I tried to do a bit of draw with reverse side there. The side didn't really catch, so instead of having a 3 in the side, I've got a 3 in the bottom left, slightly off angle. And the 4's right in the middle of the table, so I can just stun the cue ball off that right hand short rail. Oh, hang on, I'm cutting it fine on the left here, so decided against the attacking option.
Sorry, I don't know where you are, but your pizza is ready.
I just tried to thin it and get the cue ball down on the bottom rail, but didn't quite get enough distance. And in terms of options for Mike, I think he's got a combo which is quite easily makeable. 3 onto the 7. I don't think you can try and pop the 3 in the top left, sorry, the top right, without risking something dodgy with the cue ball. So he's just played safe. It's a good 3. Can controlled the position of the object ball pretty well. So I think I'm returning the favour, just trying to bank this, get cover behind the 9. I've just drifted out. But no real attacking option. So you can either thin it off the right, get the cue ball down behind the 5, or thin it on the left. That's what he's chosen. He's actually banked it. Nice shot, very nice indeed. Come round nicely, he's got a good angle on the 4. Yeah, I didn't see that. That was a classic one-pocket shot that he had left, that I'd left him. Yeah, so with this, you've got quite a big 9 ball to avoid as you go forward. You don't want to hook yourself behind that. And whilst he's got the shape, he's just dogged the 4. And that happens quite often. It's when you're trying to steer the cue ball to a certain spot, you kind of almost take the pot for granted. So I'm cutting this. It's a thin snick, lots of left-hand side, trying to check back. But once again, I've got that 9 to contend with it. It looks like I'm finishing behind it. Yes. So, end of run, I think. Got to kick at this. Try and see if I can get it safe. Or perhaps hit it a bit harder and see if I can get lucky. Yeah, well, that's what I tried, and I've left a cut into this bottom right. Definitely makeable, and you don't have to do an awful lot with the cue ball to come 2 rails for the 6 in one of the side pockets. Likes to get quite sideways on with his stance, does Mike. That's a good shot. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, some people say that stand at 45 degrees to the line of the shot, and the front toe pointing along the line. That's the classic. Whereas you can see Mike's front foot is pointing almost at 90 degrees to the line. But it's all a matter of personal preference, what you get used to, what you think works for you. He's done well so far here. He's on the 7, rolling forward for the 8. And you'd expect him to complete his run out here. A very nice controlled draw shot. In an ideal world, it'd come a little bit further, but he's almost unmissable here. You just got to stay still. And well done, Mike. Takes a 2-1 lead. And I'll be breaking rack 4. As you've noticed, it's alternate break. That's again World Nineball Tour rules. The only rule we don't follow from the Pro World Nineball Tour is we just have cue ball fouls only here rather than all ball fouls with no referees in. So my cut break's not quite worked. That time the one hit both points of that middle pocket on the left, so I wasn't far off. But nothing really inviting. Apart from just trying to roll that 1 ball in the bottom right. The 2 is sitting pretty over the side, so there's a big chance if you can get it. But it's almost tight on the rail, so it's a tough shot. Made a little bit tougher by the pace with which he played it. And he's left me a cut, which is a bit tricky because there's a very narrow window to get the cue ball between the 5 and the 3. First of all, and that's what I'm looking at now. If I can get that tangent line, hit the rail just by that first diamond, I may well be able to thread the needle and get the cue ball back out. But of course, if you get a bit too much bottom, because you have to stun it a little bit, otherwise you'll just roll straight into the 3. Which I did. I kissed the 3, and then it was elementary that you got to end up in the pocket. with that thin cut on the 3. So advantage back to Mike. Looking at the table now, 2, 3, 4 is okay, but 4 to the 5 is the tricky part, with the 8 being the obstacle. So he's come down nicely for the 3. Got a bit of an angle, so I don't think he'll be doing any breakouts right here. He'd probably just play for the 4 in such a way. I think he could probably follow forward off the 4 and take the 5 short side into that top left. But now he's gone past the pocket line. That's not really an option anymore. And I don't think he can follow forward and catch the 8. That's what he tried. He's unlucky he's missed it. So whilst there's a tiny sliver of the 5 available to him on the right-hand side, I think he may well kick at this. But that's not really worked out favourably. Although the 9 does block the corner, I think you've got to try this in the side pocket. Follow forward to the short rail. Tiny bit of left-hand English to come around 2 rails for the 6 in the bottom left. Just about made it. It's a little bit softer than I should have done. And as a consequence, the cue ball's finished very close to this long rail. But it's still okay. You can pop this 6 and just follow forward onto the left-hand long rail and get back over towards the right-hand side so you can take the 7 up in the top right. But that's not ideal. That cue ball is square with the 7, so choices. I think it's a thin edge. Leave the 7 on the rail there. Get the cue ball down on the shorts rail by that corner pocket. So there's no cross-side bank because of the 9. And the angle's not really favourable for that anyway. He could attempt the cut all the way up into that top right if he's feeling brave. Alternately, he could try and bank the 7 to the middle of the top cushion. That's a bit tricky, and you'd be just leaving the white in the middle of the table. So, I mean, looks like he maybe had a go at the pot there, but he's give me an opportunity. Just thinking about how you get on the 8. You can play it with a trace of left. Makes the pot a little bit trickier. You can then get the cue ball to check a little bit, come up the middle of the table. Yeah, I didn't have an awful lot of spin on that either way. I've settled for this in the bottom right. All I'm thinking here is just roll it in. Have a bit of confidence in your stroke and you're guaranteed shape on the 9. No need for any heroics at all. Just try and put a clean stroke on it. And that's given me this 4th rack, so I'll be levelling up here at 2 each. And Mike with the break this time, rack 5. he's not really trying the cut break, Mike. He's just trying to hit him hard. Get one in. Oh, he's left me a cut back into the bottom left. Cue ball will probably go over towards that long rail on the right. Somewhere near the side pocket. Possibly a little bit short of the side. That's what you'd want if you want to be on the 2. Let's get it to stop. Let me see, I'm loaded up with right hand English check side. Caught the one a bit thick. Managed to check the white. The shape was perfect, but the one was miles out. And I've left it. So a chance for Mike here to try and get over for this 2. I think he's got a slight angle. He can just follow off one rail. But he's not quite hit it hard enough. May attempt the cut still. You could play it with a bit of left-hand spin. Get the cue ball there up towards the 9-3. Right, cut it in nicely, but that kiss on the 6 has left him rather awkward. Looks to me as though the 9's stopping him from hitting enough of the 3 to pot it, but I also think the 5 might be blocking the path, so he's just tried a safe, and got to be said, he's kind of butchered it. I'm looking to see, can he get that 4? And it looks a bit tight from here. So other options would be to perhaps try and get above it. And it looks as though it'll go past the 8, or past the 7. The 6, I should say. Into either the bottom right or left pockets. So with a bit of angle I've got, I can just follow forward with left-hand English at the top. Get below that. I could say below, get above the 4. And the opportunity to hook him is very inviting here. It was a stonewall certainty. You just stun the cue ball and you know exactly where the 4's going, so no danger of dropping in or anything like that. Well, it's a relatively straightforward one rail kick. But he slightly misjudged it. Come a bit short. And now these really are sitting pretty. So you just want to get up table a bit towards the 5. Don't have to get too close to it. But what you do want is a little angle. So you get easily from 5 to 6. That looks pretty good. Play this with bottom right now. Just draw the cue ball out into the middle of the table. Ideally, you'd want to get past the pocket line on that 6, so you've got an easy shape from 6 to 7. And I've certainly got past the pocket line. I've flown past the pocket line. I've hit that, 3 foot too hard? So just forget about what you were planning before and change your plan. Now I've got to roll this in the top left. I'm thinking it's a dead pace shot. Again, dead weight. Just similar to the 8 potted earlier, just going to roll it in and leave the cue ball short of the 9 so I can still cut the 7 in. Rather than trying to get over to the right hand side of the table where you've been dealing with that 9, trying to get past it. So this is a delicate shot played with right hand English. And that will throw the 7 to the left. Spinning the cue ball around the angle. Pretty good shape on the 8, just off straight. And I think it's just a direct draw shot here. I'm going to try and draw towards the 9. And that way I've got a huge margin of error. Even if I'm 2 foot, 3 foot too hard, I should still be okay. And this is, it's not entirely unmissable, but it's one you can feel pretty confident about. And again, just drawing it onto that long rail on the right, just to control the cue ball. So I'll take a 3-2 lead, and I have the break in rack 6. See if I can get my cut break going again. Narrowly missed the 1 last time out. There it is, straight in. I'm playing that with draw and left, so I'm trying to get the cue ball off the long rail on the right and then back into the stack to move the 9, because that's how I've seen the likes of Fargo doing golden breaks, and it's something you must have a go at, I think, and it also helps at getting the cue ball out of trouble. Because one thing that can happen with this cut break, of course, is you can kiss balls and scratch. So, trying to do a bit of stun with right to get the gap between the 7 and the long rail and come round 3 rails. And all the way around and into the pocket. The cue ball was quite a bit wild there, to be honest. It was not a control shot. And don't be surprised if it's flying around the table if it finds a pocket. I used to think it was bad luck when you scratch, but now I just think it's a bad shot. But that 7 has come in and interfered a little bit with his ideal shape of the 3. I don't think 3 goes in the top right now, so you may have to try and draw into the gap between the 7 and the 3. Or try and get past the 8-9 at any rate, but I think he may be hooked. You could probably get past the 9 and play with a bit of left, just flick it that way. Even if it's rail first. And there might be a chance, actually, potting it if you come rail first with left English. He could actually hit the edge of it, but he caught it a bit thick. And this is cuttable. So the top left. But not easy to control the cue ball. You're probably going to end up hitting the 7. So maybe a safe option. They definitely went for the cut. I did kiss the 7, but I overcut it, left it over the hole. So a great chance for Mike to get back level. Just play this with a bit of right hand side. You want to get somewhere near the middle of the table would be ideal. A little bit further. Yeah, it's a bit tricky now. You can cut that 4 in with left-hand English, but it's not great because you've got to avoid the 7. And then if you do avoid the 7, that scratch is always on. And there's a line from where the 4 was to that pocket, and you're putting it on that line by playing it with that spin. So looking now, probably do a little draw shot. Tiny bit of right hand side, that will become left when it hits the rail and flick out. And again here, you've got a choice. Play it with right or play it with left. Playing it with left in this instance is okay. You just got to get past the 8 and then you get guaranteed to have a nice angle on the 7. It's a matter of personal preference. You can also just play with a lot of right, which is what I've done there. And again, easily avoid the 8 and get to the correct side of the 7. So this it's just a dab of left, and that's just going to open up the angle off the rail and then make it easy to gauge your pace a bit better for the 8. So staying just off the pocket line means I've got a natural angle here. And probably just use the 1 rail. stunning it to about the diamond before the middle pocket. I've used 2 rounds as it happens, but that was pretty unmissable 9. So I've gone to 4-2 now. Rack 7, Mike with a break. Let's see what I can manage here. He's got one this time. Yeah, he seems to be striking the cue ball above centre. And he does cut the one a little bit. But from recollection, I think that hit the long rail on the left about a diamond below the middle pocket. So a bit of work to do if he wants to try and get the 1 in off the break. So I tried the hook there. Both balls have run out. That's the line of the 2-8, which would have been his desired position. And options, well, to attack, you could play the bank in the left centre. Cue will come down towards the bottom rail. You're not going to have a lot to go for. I don't think the 2 will pass the 3 in the top left. So I played thin off the left of the 1, just the safety. I was trying to get down there behind the 8-9 on that end rail, so a little shorter pace once again on the safety. And the 1's peeped out a bit, so he's got sight of it, but I don't think he can hit enough of it to cut it in. There's a scratch he's got to look out for, but he's hit the dreaded double kiss. It's never good when you double kiss a ball. So with this one, I've got to make sure with this left hand spin that I avoid the 2. That is a careless error. Should have been guaranteed shape on that and then up the table for the 3, but instead of which I've got to negotiate this slightly tricky pot to the top right. Cue ball's going to be going over to that long rail, so it's straight behind the 3. And it's just a stop shot on the 3 for the 5 in the bottom left, so could do with making this. But that is too thick by quite some distance. But I've been rather fortunate once again. Pretty much hooked him. I thought that was the 7 up there. That's actually the 4 ball, isn't it, up by the 9? Yeah, so 3, 4, 5 required. Not 3, 5, as I was thinking earlier. So what kind of a kick when you play? He's just waiting for someone on the next table to play their shot before he can get round there. Not far off making that. So, does this pass the 5? It would be quite tricky to get the cue ball nicely on the 3 from that shot. So I did try safety, but he had to avoid the 8, both on the way up and on the way back with that 2 ball. So that's another poor shot, really, to leave him a makeable shot in the side pocket. Just drop this in and he would have a shot on the 3. He's just put it to the far jaw, but I think that's rolled forward and just covered up the shot to the 2. So you can either do a little swerve or try and bounce it over that edge of the 4 ball. think I'm doing a little swerve here. It's only by a small amount. And I think I've left him a cross corner bank. It's the old one pocket shot. Going to be playing the cue ball naturally off the left of the 2, so down towards the 3. That's all the way. Nice stroke. Unfortunately, he's finished above the 3, so no real attacking option. I think he's just going to kick this or bank this 3 down towards the bottom rail and get the cue ball on the top rail somewhere behind the 4 or the 9. Yeah, the 9 it is. Nicely executed. I think once again it's a soft little swerve. But I'm looking at the kick, the one rail kick here. Basically, a diamond system says if you aim for that centre diamond, wherever the cue ball is now, it's going to travel towards a similar spot the other end of the table. So I needed to make a slight adjustment because I want it to come a bit short. So aiming for that same spot, but with a lot of left-hand English. And calculated it. Okay, but where's the cue ball? Yeah. Again, running loose. Never be surprised if it finds a pocket. So, what's he going to do here? Follow forward for the 4 in the top right. That appears to be what he's got in mind. Oh dear. You put that the extreme part of that jaw on the short rail, and the pocket didn't want to accept that. If it had been a bit offline on the left-hand side of the pocket, that probably would have dropped still. So playing it with a lot of check. Seems to have finished a bit straight on this 4. So just take your medicine and drop it in. Leave the cue ball pretty much where the 4 is. And you've got an eminently makeable 5. You don't have to be close to it. You can just play that with a bit of top, come 2 rails out for the 6. Put a trace of left as well as top spin on this. You should loop a little bit off the long rail and then come down short rail and travel up towards the 6. Yeah, didn't hit it that hard, so I've left a fairly long shot. And just looking, the angle is not favourable for hitting it too hard. I think you'd want to be rolling this really. And then you'll have the 8 in the opposite side. You definitely want to let your stroke out though on this. Don't inhibit yourself. I played it a little bit pacey and it's been slightly inaccurate. It's rattled. But I've been very fortunate to get the cue ball behind the 8. I mean, I was playing shape on it, but that 6 could have finished very easily accessible to him, so fortunate again really. And he's had a double kiss again, coming around kicking it, and that's given me an easy opportunity to make it 5-2. So I'd be playing this with top and a bit of left, so I can just check the cue ball off that short rail and come up for the 8 in the right side pocket. Speed is perfect. I was a bit close to the 8, but fortunately that speed was good enough that it didn't matter. Just a delicate little soft screw here. You have to forgive me if I'm using English snooker terms. Comes a second nature when I played snooker over there for many, many years. So this 9 for 5-2. Where's the cue ball? We're okay. So rack 8, it'll be me to break. And that's gone just about perfectly. Got the one in. Another 3 balls that went in. There's only 5 balls left on the table. The danger with this type of break, and it's happened to me before, is you get a bit overexcited. You've got a sense of excitement. Oh, made 4 balls off the break. Oh, should run out here. This is easy. And you've got to kind of like reel yourself in and just make sure, in particular, you get this next ball. And that is not what I did there. I just dogged it. I mean, the 4 was sitting over the corner. As it happens, I didn't get great on that. I'm pretty straight. All you need to do is make sure the 2. But it's a bit disappointed. I sit down there and lick my wounds and expect Mike to run these 5 balls out. Oh dear. That could be a costly error at this stage of the game. Just 5 balls to put me on the hill. So initially I was going to play this with check, but in the end, changed my mind a little bit. I was going to play it to the long way on the right hand side. And that was a bit of a risky way of doing it, because you see I was only 4 or 5 inches from that side pocket. On another day that may have scratched. And also I came down and kissed the 8-9. He could have finished up behind them as well. So on closer scrutiny, maybe the check side shot was the better. And again, it's in the furniture. Move the 8, but it's gone very favourable. And just stun that one in. And this is a stop shot to leave the unmissable 9. The type of 9 that you really want. So just hold it together, stay still, pop it in for 6-2. I'm on the hill. And it'll be Mike Edmiston breaking. See what we can manage here. Well, he's given him a good old whack. But nothing's down. And he's left a shot through to the 1. It will pass into the bottom right. But getting shape on the 2, not that easy. You could just play 2 rails for the 2 in the top right. You'd just have to get sufficiently far back up the table to get past the 6 to have that shot available to you. If you do put right hand side on, which is what I look to be doing, the keyboard's going to be whizzing around and end up on the top right hand side of the table up there. So yeah, there wouldn't have been such a favourable shot on the 2 if that had no dropped. And it wasn't exactly a good attempt at a safety either, so could be I'm just tensing up a little bit, sensing the winning line here, and they do say that last rack is the hardest one to win. Whereas Mike, now the pressure's really off him, he's just got to let loose and try and pot some balls. Done a nice 1 there. But he's gone a bit too far for the 2. It's a very thin cut if he wants to make it in the side. Well, safety options exist, but what's he doing here? Yeah, that's not bad. He's got the cover, I think, just 6 there, being the obstruction. There's a tiny bit of this so I can swerve onto the 2 and knock the 9 in. Well, missed the swerve, but the extreme spin came off the rail and hit the 2. And a fluked a snooker as well. Lucky me. He's getting the short stick out, jumping over this 8, trying to knock the 2 in. That's a good hit. But it's going to dress up over the corner for me. So, follow forward here. I'm not sure if that 3 goes past the 5. So what I'm having a look at here. I think it might do. It's tight. So then you've got to avoid the 6-8 when you're coming off that short rail. So I'll try and stay above the 8 if I can. Yeah, that's left me a very tough shot. So I don't think I'm going to go for the cut anymore. I'm just weighing up what options are there. One shot I can see is to bank the 3 off the long rail on the right hand side towards the 9 and knock the 9 in for the match. And that is the shot I think I'm going to take here. It's a chance to win. And cue ball can be drawn down towards the 7-8. And as long as I make contact with the 9, I think the 3 would probably be fairly safe. So it's kind of a shot for nothing. Well, I said the 3 would be safe. It's actually right over the hole. But I had to go and give myself a chance. That's all you can hope for sometimes, is try and make something good happen. So he's just going to float this in, try and come up for the 4. He's just gone past it. Yeah, and it'll pass the 9, so I think he would probably end up colliding with the 6, but you can do a delicate shot. Shouldn't move the 6 too far. He's managed to draw past it. That's better. So I'll just make the 5. A little bit of backspin. Just kill the cue ball off that long rail for the 6 in the left centre. Well, he's followed forward. So he's now got a bit more of a tricky cut if he wants to take it in the side. And the cue ball's going to be travelling up towards the 7-8, but in such a way that he might collide with the 7 off the rail. So you just got to watch out here. Yeah, in fact, kissed the 8, but that's not turned out too bad. You just drop this 7 in the middle. And he'll have a thin cut on the 8 in the bottom right, which will take him up for the 9. So, oh, he's missed the 7, but where's it going? The pool gods are back on his side for once. He's had a bit of shocking running, really. So I can't complain. And just this 9 to stay in the game, take us to a 10th rack. Oh, he's hit it too thick. And what's he left? Well, he's left me a cut. And we'll be playing this with top and right hand side, so take the scratch in the side pocket out of the equation. And also, were I to miss the 9, the cue ball may well finish up on that top cushion. Well, I've missed it altogether. It was that thin. That's quite fortunate. I mean, it's possible, definitely, but not easy by any stretch. Just got to try and roll it in, not too hard. Rattles and falls. So Mike's got the rack. He's on now 3-6 down. I'm 6-3 up. And breaking here in rack 10. Let's see what sort of a break I can manage. Bottom left on that cue ball. Well, I think it's a bit too thick. One missed the side pocket, but the ball flew in the top right, so what was it? It was the 4 ball actually. And very nicely shaped for the 1, that was fortunate, and the 2 hanging nearby as well. So I can get off to a good start here. 3's waiting over that top right. And then 3 to the 5, looks okay. 5, you'd have to get back up to the top rail. But the 7 looks as though it's available in all pockets, so you just got to mind your work here. And that was one of those where you're drawing back along the line of the shot, so I over-hit it quite considerably, but I was still okay. You know, maybe a 2 foot over it. If you're playing across the pocket line, then you'd have been way out of shape, so just a bit of top and check side. I wanted to get past the pocket line on that 5, and I'm short, so the natural angle takes the cue ball away from the 6, takes it down table. And I'm thinking, what can I do? I mean, if I do a deep draw, I can come over to the right-hand side. I'll be near the side pocket. I'd probably be snookered behind the 7-9, so that's not really an option. Following forward, you've got the big 8 ball in the way. And you can try stunning it directly onto the bottom rail. You need a lot of spin. So I'm loading up here. I've got a lot of top and side on this. And it's just done a big banana. The cue ball's arced all the way around the 8 and flown straight in that corner pocket. Once again, you can't grumble when that happens. I was letting loose. And cue ball could have gone anywhere. And so Mike has a chance to get to 6-4 and put the pressure really on me. I've already squandered one opportunity on the hill. And if you miss another, you start to think, what's going on here? So he's gone slightly too far. His path from the cue ball from the 7 is going to take him slightly away from the 8. Looks like he's going to follow forward off the long rail. And pretty straight on this 8. Looks like a draw shot maybe. Oh no, he's addressing the top of the cue ball. He's obviously got enough angle to follow forward off one rail. And he's come up a bit short, so it's a nasty cut here. Not very nice. We take it in the top left. He's got to trace the right hand side of the cue ball to help throw it in. He's caught it a bit thin, but you've got to miss that. You should miss it thin. And I'm thinking what to do here. Well, I only need this 9. And I think the prospect of a long bank is going to prove irresistible. I'm going to have a go at this. Question is what side? I think it's the bottom right. Play with a bit of draw. Yeah, caught it well too thick. How's it going to finish? Well, he's got a shot in the top left. I mean, he could take it in the left centre, but I think the top left is the play here. Play with a bit of bottom, throw the cue ball back. Oh, looks like he's going in the side. Yeah, it was a narrower opening than the corner, and he's just hit the round before the pocket. But not left anything easy. I mean, what can you do here? You've got thin cuts to either the corner or the side. They're both slightly scratchy. So probably play a cross-side bank here. Try and get in that right-hand side pocket. That's what I'm evaluating now. Just draw the cue ball back to the short rail. Oh, not far off. I'm just past the pocket. And I'm thinking I've sold it out here. This is relatively straightforward shots, really, for 6-4. Oh, that's a poor miss, really. I think he's a bit dejected. Mike, he's not had the best of matches, and I think maybe his confidence was a little bit low. But it's funny, I sometimes only need 1 or 2 shots to go in, and that can all turn around. So I'm gathering myself here. I've had several opportunities, but this one is very makeable. I fancy cutting this in. So just take my time. Go through the pre-shot routine, get nicely set, feel comfortable, and then try and put a nice stroke on this. This will be 7-3, folks. So I progress to the next round. I shake Mike's hand. He'll be continuing on the one-loss side. So check out the channel for more from this tournament, and thanks for tuning in.